Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel, Carly and Julia Soul Twins. Today we have back on the show joining us, we have our friend, intuitive energy healer, and of course founder of the Aramis Creative Learning Center, which we are also a part of, Sherri Divband. Hey Sherri.
Hey, it's nice to see you guys again. I feel like we were just doing the fundraiser, but that was weeks ago. Time is flying.
I know. Yeah, I was just about to say that. The last time we caught up was for the fundraiser, which was a couple of weeks ago now, and a very fun evening or daytime for us.
You know, we had a really great time, and we were able to share some of the mentors with the audience that I think was really special and unique. So, you know, the people watching were really able to connect with the mentors that teach our children, but also teach adult classes, and it was really nice to hear from them and give them kind of an opportunity to showcase their skills and and talk about the classes that they teach. So that was really special. My personal favorite and what I think got the most attention, and I received a lot of emails, was it was nice to see some children on there talk, other than my own, talking about, you know, their experience. And I actually had a lot of other children offer to come on, but we had so much to jam pack into that hour, or it was a little over an hour show, that we had to really just kind of choose, just have a few. But that was really special to hear the children speak. It's always like nice to hear them speak for themselves and tell us what they like about the classes. So that was fun. We raised some money for the animations, which as a result of that, we have just we're in production now. So I'm super grateful for that. We had to hold off for a while. The last couple of months, we haven't been able to move forward, and now we are moving. And so we are in the middle of creating our next episode on Starseeds. It's going to be a really special episode featuring the character Jordan, and Mark Savas, our mentor, co-wrote this script with me. So this is a fun one. So yeah, and some of the other funding is helping to support so many other avenues, and so it was a really fun experience, and I really enjoyed working with you too. And Tony Rodriguez was a special guest, and we just had such a great vibe that night. What do you guys think?
We agree. We had a great time, and it was fun. Also, we announced the prize winners as well. That was a couple of days later, and that was a lot of fun because we had your kids joining us as well. We had Skylar and Aramis, so that was fun. And congratulations to all of the prize winners too.
Yes.
Some very lucky winners in there. We had some really nice prizes too. And thank you also to everyone who did donate during that time, that period of time, because they were eligible for prizes. But of course, if you would like to donate to the Aramis Creative Learning Center, the Aramis Collective, you can always go ahead and do so. We always appreciate that anytime, any day, anytime. You can do that by going to the aramiscollective.com /donations if you would like to do that going forward. Yeah. And speaking of special guests, you mentioned that we had Tony on the fundraiser, but we do have a special guest today as well joining us a little bit later. It's not Tony. We'll keep that a secret. We'll keep that a secret. Yeah. And also, I just wanted to touch on that as well. You mentioned Mark was your co-collaborator in your most recent children's episode, so the Starseed episode. And Mark is also a teacher, so I want to clarify that for the audience. He's one of the teachers that we have on board. He did pop into the fundraiser the other day. So hi Mark. And to all the teachers as well. We love you all.
We love picking Sherri's brain about a whole range of things, and we will do that again today. And we do like to tap into the collective energy and kind of get a feel of what we think people are wanting to hear or needing to hear at this time. Everything's moving so quickly right now, and things are changing, and people are changing from within. You know, many people are going through, they're deprogramming themselves. They're just changing on so many different levels, and it's a lot to go through, and people don't know themselves like they did before. You know, we're not matching up to our surroundings like we used to, because everything's shifting so much, and we kind of have to keep up with that. And sometimes that does feel like a lot of pressure as well, if you're someone that is interested in this healing and you do want to shift and upgrade yourself on a deep level. So there's a lot going on, and those changes take time to manifest in the outside world around us. So we're not necessarily seeing all the changes we'd like to see at this point, because things take time to crumble and then build again. But we just have to be, patient with ourselves, I think, as we move through this process, because we're all discovering our own truths as we move through. But Sherri, the first question we had today for you was about empaths, actually. And I wanted to ask you, in regards to programming, do you think empaths have had a more difficult time in regards to the level or the depth of programming that they've experienced because they absorb their surroundings so easily when they were young, and they still do now? Is it harder, do you think, to shift if you're someone that is super sensitive?
That's an interesting question. I think that it's hard to compare because we don't want to come off as though empaths are having a more difficult experience than those that are less empathic, because we all are empathic to some degree. It's just a matter of if we're tapped into it or not. So maybe we should clarify what that means. A lot of us that are really connected to our intuition, to our higher self, we are much more connected to the universal energies, the collective consciousness. And so we feel what other people are feeling. So, you are tapped into the emotions of the environment that you're in, other people that you're in, your family members, and you actually physically and emotionally feel what that other person is feeling, whether it's good or bad. It can be a beautiful ride, but then it can also be very difficult when you're tapping into the sadness of others. And so when we're dealing with programming, people who are, the more empathic you are, the more you are in tune with the struggle of everyone else around you, not just yourself. And it can make it really difficult to navigate through that, especially when you don't understand or understand what you're feeling. And that's the biggest challenge I think children have. So when I work with clients that are parents and we talk about their children, the children don't understand what they're feeling, so they act out. So if they're feeling a lot of anger, let's say, that's from their environment, that's not even theirs, they don't know that intellectually. On a higher level they do, but in their reality they're angry and they act out, and they may hit or throw or have behavioral issues in school, but they're just trying to figure out and understand what's going on with them, and they don't know how to articulate it or have the understanding of what's happening. So we have to navigate through those challenges as well. And I think as you get older, one of two things happen. One, you embrace it and you're able to be supported by your parents or mentor or friends or a teacher, whomever is in your life that helps you recognize and say, oh, this is what's happening to you, and here are some tools to help you navigate through that. And then the other alternately is dissociative behavior and numbing. And a lot of people who are really programmed through the television, through their environment, and maybe their parents can't be for them the way that they need them to be, and they're in a very strict, controlled environment, and through the public school system, a lot of them do dissociate and they disconnect from themselves, and they lose that intuition and that beautiful light within them, and then they become less empathic, and they turn that part of them off as a defense mechanism. Some of us turn that off so that we can survive. It is a survival mechanism. And so there's so many layers to that it's really difficult to give you one particular answer.
It's definitely challenging times still. And we're just here to help people through this with the questions that we ask Sherri, and the healing that we try to provide through these chats as well.
Yeah. And I know, tying into Julia, what you were saying just now. So one of the concepts that we wanted to talk about today, and there is a little bit of contention surrounding this whole concept, and the concept I'm talking about is free will. So I guess we wanted to get your opinion on that, and just how you sort of feel about it. Do we or don't we have free will? Do we have are there things just predestined for us and we have no control over that, or do we have control over that? And how much does I guess the programming, as we were talking about, and all the projections onto us in this kind of day and age, in this kind of world, the way what humanity has been exposed to, how much of that has infiltrated the free will, our own free will?
I think because if you're on autopilot, Sherri, do you not have free will necessarily, or you have less free will because you're kind of getting
programs,
moved into different situations, or decisions are being made for you in a sense because you're not actually aware all the time?
Yeah, this is a really good question, and I've been talking about this recently because it's quite complicated and multidimensional. So let's take out the programming aspect of it. And if you think about it, the divine template or the divine design of us to have an experience, whether it's in this human form or another form someplace else, we have the ability to plan ahead what our destiny, what it is our soul journey is going to be, who's going to be in it, what roles they will play, what roughly what age you're going to be, the struggles that you're going to endure in order to shift into different aspects of yourself, and in many different versions. So when I explain it to people, the best analogy I can come up with is, imagine having an outline, like you're a author of a book, and the book that you're writing is this life. So Sherri's life right now is this book. And before I came in, I had the outline and the chapter titles all laid out and ready for me to go. So I have a very large path that I could follow, but then you can veer off and design it through free will, through aspects of free will, through your experience. Because sometimes you're not going to know how you're going to respond to something until you're here doing it. So you can't have everything planned out ahead of time. There has to be wiggle room for you to make decisions based on your experiences. And emotions are a big part of that. And so you come in with the general outline, let's say, and then you come into your life as an infant and throughout your journey, and you start to fill in those chapters with information, which are your experiences that are pretty open, as long as you follow the guidelines of this chapter of what your role is in humanity. Why are you here? Because our role does affect other people. So when you intertwine many people's lives, we have to have some sort of generalized plan ahead of time. So free will, in essence, is our ability to make choices when we're here, as long as it follows a pathway that we have, the overall divine design of why we've come in, why we've come through. That's the aspect of free will. And it's a universal law that should be and has been followed for as long as life forms have existed, as long as the light has existed. That doesn't mean that all life forms follow it, which is when we get to the dark aspect of this. So that is free will. Now, when we come to, let's say, this third density planet, at some point that free will aspect shifted. And what I like to call it, or how I explain it now, is now we have this convoluted free will matrix, where imagine that book that you're writing. Now the powers that controlled the matrix, that have gained control previously over the matrix, now can limit your free will to certain aspects. It's a controlled environment. So you think you have free will. We have thought we've had free will for many centuries and longer. But in reality, they have placed rules that we are confined within, that they deem appropriate for their narrative, and we have to follow that. So the free will is very limited. So we always speak, oh, we have free will, but in reality, that's not the case. And it hasn't been the case for a very long time, at least not here in Earth, in this timeline and in this density, because they've gained so much control. It's like when I parent, when I help to parent other help parents navigate through challenging times with their children. When you have a strong-willed, spirited child, you have to give them choices. That's parenting 101 of a spirited child. And trust me, I learned it the hard way. So think about it in that aspect. You want to give your child choices. You want to empower them. But of course, the parents are going to decide what the limitations are. So you can have, what do you want to do for dinner this week? Make it the most simple choice. And these are your options. Which one do you want tomorrow night? Of course, you're going to give them options of things that you are able to make and you have the ability to get, right? But you're still giving them a choice between one or several things, but it's controlled. Now you take that in a widespread humanity that we're in right now, the collective, and the controllers are the parents of the matrix, who are dead, but they are not good parents. They are the ones that have dark control, that manipulate and program us, so that we believe that we have free will, but we don't. And those that see through the illusion and try to get out of that control mechanism and seek true free will, those are the deemed conspirators throughout our evolution, or those that have been sacrificed or crucified because they've tried to show people, hey, there is another way. But because the control system was so tightly knit together, so bound with such darkness and this grid of control, many people can't see past it. So you see there's different layers to the free will and how it's been manipulated over thousands of years, really. We have finally reached a pivotal marking point in our evolution of our species, and the earth herself, the consciousness of earth, has reached a point of purification process where we are ascending or raising in frequency and bringing in more light. And the more light that comes in, the people are starting to wake up. That's where that term comes, wake up, wake them up, so that they're out of that slumber. So they can see through the illusion. And once you see through the illusion, trust me, there's no going back. You will never be able to see things the same again. And that's why this period, the Great Shift or the Great Awakening, there's so many titles for it, is so profound, because that percentage of asleep people in the population went from astronomical to now it's flipped. So maybe 60 to 70% of the population has awakened, or is still continuing to awaken, and every day more and more awakens. So it's now flipped.
So as you said, Sherri, and this is a really layered topic that we could spend hours talking about. Really, it's all very interesting as well. And we're seeing now that we really are essentially deprogramming and removing all of this evil energy that's been existing for thousands of years. So this is not just I think sometimes we get a little bit caught up and think, oh, it's just the media, but really this evil has been existing on Earth for thousands and thousands of years. So this is a lot of like energy that we have to I guess usher out, and it takes time to do that, and it's taking time to, obviously, as you said, wake people up. But then within that, there's also, we've got this evil permeating through, and there's a lot of what we would call that there's a woke community as well, which is an alternative version of an awake group of people, and they're pushing a different agenda. It looks a certain way, but beneath the layers there are a lot of evil things penetrating that as well, and that's another whole topic we could go into as well.
A whole other topic.
Yeah, there's so much. I mean, perhaps we will talk about that next time, but I wanted to just quickly lead into the concept of destiny. So this is you've kind of touched on this as well. I guess just to clarify, once and for all, in your opinion, of course, is destiny real? And I guess with this Great Awakening or this ascension process that we're going through right now, is that the purpose of that is to bring back, I guess, our connection to our destinies, or our true destinies, I should say, and living out our true life purpose as individuals and as a collective.
Yeah, and your operative word, and I want to bring this up again. I am not a prophet. I am not, a guru. So again, this is all my opinion. So I'm glad that you said that, because I don't want people to take what I say as ultimate truth, because this is, again, my opinion based on my spiritual journey and my experience, and it changes. We're always evolving and always shifting in it, and our level of conscious will allow us to see different dimensional realities and different versions of the truth. So there are definitely many variations of the truth. And because we live in such a multidimensional world, not world meaning just Earth, just reality, and we are such multidimensional beings, there are actually variations to our truths, depending on how you're looking at it and at any given moment. And so that's important to talk about, to bring that up as well. Now, destiny, I absolutely believe in destiny, because I think it's just a fancy word. Again, it's all words. And we can also talk about, that's a whole other topic of conversation. Back in Lemuria, I'm going to pivot for a second. Make sure to wheel me back in. But, back in Lemuria, in a lot of my sessions, what I'm being told, and even into Atlantis, and even in other indigenous cultures, thousands and 20,000, 30,000 years ago, and to take it further, in other planetary systems, in other races and star beings, they don't talk the way that we do. And a lot of it is done through tones, through frequencies and vibrations, and it's sound. Okay, so it's variations of sound. So in Lemuria, when years ago, they would tell me, we didn't speak like you speak. We would sing. So they would sing to one another, and not how you see like musicals. I can't stand musicals, by the way. It's just something about it irritates me. But it's not like you see in a musical where they're singing this, singing and dancing. It wasn't like that. But it was very harmonic, the way that they would speak to each other. Light language is one example of that. And it's all about how the person perceives it, not through the words that you're speaking, but the way you say it. The harmony and the frequency of the vibration of the sound has a meaning. And it's, imagine a whole novel worth of information coming to somebody through one tone, and then versus us in our language right now that's very limiting, having to say all of those things. It takes forever, and it's very limiting because our words don't actually mean what we feel. You can't actually describe an emotion. We do our best through our words, but our vocabulary, another thing in this controlled, convoluted matrix that we're in, they have, and how they control people back before mainstream media and before the technology we're using through apps and TikTok and all of these things, they would do black magic. And a lot of that is through spell casting and through words. So a lot of the words in our vocabulary are clear signs and indication of spells and cast, and how they weave that into our early process of education, so that we go throughout our lifetimes just conjuring up dark energies through our words without even realizing it. And that's why a lot of nonverbal children tell me that they won't speak, because they will not speak those spells. They know that our language has an intertwining dark magic in it, and they refuse to use our language, and they will not. Others do it because they're trying to teach us telepathy. Again, there's never one answer. It's multidimensional. So when we talk about destiny, again, that's just another word to describe our soul's purpose. We choose to come in and experience life for a reason. We want to have challenges, and we want to see what it would be like to be in a human form, and with a certain demographic of people and challenges, and navigate through that. And so our soul has a purpose or a destiny. Why are we here? What's my soul's purpose here? What's my life theme? What's my journey about? That is a destiny. So again, there's a good side of it and there's a bad side of it. The good side of it is, yes, we have a destiny, just like our free will. But then somewhere along the line, the dark entities and the darkness and the dark web and all of that took over, and our destiny became karma and reincarnation, in the negative wheel of reincarnation. So a lot of souls were just recycled through the system, and they no longer really had a destiny. They no longer really had free will, because they were recycled through the system and having lifetime after lifetime of slavery, poverty, dis-ease, struggle, and much worse than that we won't talk about. But the point is, again, at some point, there was a division of free will and destiny, and control and negative karma, and the recycling of lives. So almost everything that we could talk about has a positive aspect and a negative aspect. But I certainly believe in destiny. And to wrap this up without being too long-winded, is that I think that we're going back to that period. As we ascend, we will truly find ourselves, find our passion, and our passion is our destiny. And that's why I encourage everybody right now to, instead of focus on the negative, what's your destiny? And you find that through finding what your passion is. What do you want to see yourself doing in the foreseeable future outside of a controlled matrix? If money wasn't an issue, travel wasn't an issue, there were no borders, what would fill you with joy? What would you like to do to contribute to this world? That's your destiny.
Yeah, thank you for explaining your opinion of destiny, Sherri, because it's one thing, I guess. Yeah, maybe it's been, I guess, confused by media projections of the term destiny. You said it was it's a flowery term. It's used like that. So we wanted to get your opinion on that. And there are so many more things we could talk about, little offshoots of that. And you were talking a lot about, you went back to Lemuria. You talked about the sounds, the way that they would communicate, and it's all about the vibrational aspects of that. And I do have a theory as well that a lot of what's going on online, especially in this alternative media, I think it has a lot to do with the energy vibrations that certain people are putting out. And there are, of course, the alternative, part of that is the people that they are shutting down. So I'm talking about the platforms. We know the platforms we're talking about. They shut or silence certain people or reduce their numbers, all that sort of thing, all that corrupt business that goes on. Sherri, you know about it. We know about it. Many people, within the wider community have experienced it. Because of those reasons, they want to shut down the positive vibrational elements that are coming from what we're saying, the way we're talking, the way we sound when we say it, the words that we're choosing to say, all of those things. And this is something, we could talk about this for hours. And I'll just say, we spoke about the woke community before, just obviously, the evil characters, they're running scared right now, and they're pushing a lot of stuff out there. And there are some people that have had got very, very big followings. And I'm talking about people that have been on shows, you know, that lady that used to host shows starting with the letter O, you know, pushing certain people. There's one coming to Australia soon, and I see adverts for this person all the time. It's a male.
A spiritual guru.
Spiritual guru. And, you know, I'm telling you right now, this is my own opinion of this person. I can't say the name, but I was listening to something once just to hear what he had to say. And honestly, I went out running with it, and I couldn't even get more than like a couple of 100 meters listening to him, because I was listening to it, and it's the vibration of this person's voice, the way he was speaking, what he was saying was absolutely not resonating with me. I could just see through it. But so many people obviously are blinded by it. The spell casting that this person is using within the way he's speaking and what he's saying. So look, it's another topic for discussion for sure. But yeah, we'll just say just be aware of how you're feeling. We say it a lot of times in these videos. Be aware of how you're feeling when you're listening to people, you know, online, watching whatever you watch, whatever you listen to, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. It's very, very important as to how you feel when you're doing that, when you're actually consuming those things. Yeah.
I also loved how you said, Sherri, about destiny. It's your passion, and that really simplifies it for people. So just keep following what that is. You know, that's going to get you to your true destiny. And I love the way you said that. We're only talking about light language yesterday. I brought it up with Carly. And also some of the children that you have in your sessions don't necessarily speak because they're communicating through telepathy and all these other forms of communication that we will potentially be having and moving into. It's things that we don't see that you have to start to be more tuned into. And that's why we've been talking about all these things for the last year or more, a year and a half, to get people aware of all these things that are going on. And then Carly mentioning the frequencies that run through these platforms, you know, they know who's putting out good stuff. They know who's putting out fear. They know, you know,
they're selecting certain
so don't be fooled people by numbers and all these types of things. You've got to really look beneath the layers. But I want
your free will comes in.
The free will.
and I just want to say that the woke agenda, you know, that's a whole other narrative that is really just losing momentum significantly. And I think that we won't even be hearing that term much longer, but it is one of the last ditch efforts of the dark to infiltrate the spiritual community. And unfortunately, there are a lot of the spiritual, I would say, leaders, or at least leaders in the sense that they are outwardly talking about, you know, different things through a public platform, whatever that looks like, that I think have, you know, on some level been infiltrated by that agenda in some way. And so we really need to use our discernment. And when you know, I encourage everybody not to, don't get comfortable. That's the thing. If you get complacent and you get comfortable, you lose the ability to have true discernment. So I don't care who you're listening to. You always want to listen with not only your ears and your brain, but your heart. And if this person continues to resonate with you and make you feel uplifted, and I'm not saying it's all, I mean, not everything that comes out of my mouth is positive, but if they're saying it in a way that's not taking your power from me, that's encouraging, then continue listening to them. But if there are red flags that start to come up you're like, oh, but I really like this person, I encourage you to just stop for a moment, step back, and maybe take a break, and then come back a while later with a fresh mind and a fresh heart and see how you feel and reevaluate. Because there's a lot of trickster energy going right now. And this woke agenda is really taking people. And you know what? It's not the adults. It's not the elderly. They are targeting the youth and making this woke agenda cool. And they're making it like it's Hollywoodizing it, I guess, if that's the word. And making it fun and making it all about fame. And it's farthest from a spiritual awakening than it's unfathomable. But I think that it's losing its momentum.
There's so many offshoots to all the things we're talking about today, but I'll jump in and just ask this question quickly. Do you think on some level, Sherri, the Great Awakening, although it's woken certain people up and it's made people aware of things that they didn't know, and therefore people can start shifting from within with that awareness, do you think on some level now it's becoming a distraction, and humanity is essentially slowing down the awakening because they're distracted out there with everything that's been spoken about and actually not working on things within themselves and shifting things within.
And the timing of it, like waiting, always
waiting for something else, someone to tell them something that's going to happen on the outside. Yeah. That's the question.
Yeah, again, multidimensional, and there's a lot of different ways you can answer that. And I think that is happening. I also think that people are going so far into the spiritual aspect that they're losing touch with reality in the present moment. So there's so many elements to this. And I think that the simple way to answer this and to look at it is make sure you're grounded and you empower and you stay in control. I am in control always. And you say that, you feel that, and you embody that, because as soon as we give our power from one person to another, and I keep saying it like a broken record, just because you stop watching the mainstream media, but you've now given your power over to this number of podcasts that you listen to, and that's where you're getting your news from, is one thing. But then some people are taking it to a whole nother level, and their whole life is that. And they don't do anything else. They don't want to work. They don't want to leave their house. They're just listening. It's almost like there's an addiction there to know what is happening in the world. And I guarantee you there's no truther out there. There's nobody that knows everything. Because if this truly is a spiritual ascension and awakening and a spiritual war of good and evil versus, or light versus dark, we're not going to know the full story. And it has to be that way. And I think that it's distracting for a lot of people because they need to know the answers to everything. And I don't think there is one answer to that's the answer. There is no answer. And that's like, woo, like people, like their brains explode when they hear that, because they're like, we're so trained to be in the left brain. We're so programmed that 1 + 1 has to equal 2, that they can't fathom not knowing. They have to know. And they get so obsessed with knowing that sometimes they get the wrong information and they run with it because they want to know more than they are discerning what the truth really is. And so there is no really easy way to answer that one.
Like you said, the addiction to wanting to know everything. And that again is the distraction from coming back to self and actually working on yourself, because it's actually hard to face a lot of the things that you're kind of running from. And we see a lot of that, around us still, people running from certain things in their lives and distracting themselves with all of this over here. And really, it again, it comes back to balance. Like you said, the grounding. You can have some of that, and it's good to be aware and to know things, because, you can't go back after you know. But how much do you need to know? What do you need to know? What is essential for your life personally? How much is too much for you? You need to be asking these questions as well, so you're not being taken down that addiction road with this awakening. So it's self-care and self-awareness. You have to really monitor that in yourself. It's a healthy way to approach all of this.
We would advocate, as Sherri said, it's just so important to be grounding yourself. And we've spoken about this, Sherri, in one of our previous podcasts. It's not always about, always, as you said, looking to the stars, always looking out to other gurus or other people with other opinions and all that sort of thing. It's really the most powerful thing you have is your own intuition. And you get that from being grounded. You get that from connecting with Mother Earth. And, because we are humans and we're having an experience on this planet, on Earth. So we have to use the power within that. And that comes with connecting to the earth. And we always say, go out for walks, go out in nature, touch the ground, get your feet on the ground, those kinds of things. That will help you more than anything, more than listening to, 1,000 podcasts or whatever it is. That will bring you back. And I just wanted to caveat that with that little point.
Yeah. Sherri, I just wanted to ask a question about, in regards to your sessions, have you ever, or have maybe not talked about before, have you ever come across an esoteric type of gift that has surprised you, that you hadn't necessarily known about or heard about before? Like we know about telepathy or psychic abilities and things like that. Is there anything that's coming up for us in the future that has come up in one of your sessions that you have never spoken about? Because as we all sort of transition and unveil the truth within us, I'm assuming more esoteric type of gifts will emerge from all of us.
I don't know necessarily if it's anything that hasn't been talked about before, or maybe in our level of understanding, we wouldn't be able to conceptualize it just yet, because a lot of things that I've seen, I'm like, I don't really understand that. And I've told people in sessions, I'm like, this is what I'm seeing. I don't really understand what it means. And I have so many examples of that. But what I think is the important thing to mention is it's more about us tapping into our own wisdom. And there are my wisdom versus, not versus, there's no versus. My wisdom and yours is going to be different based on your life experiences that you've had here and outside of this planet. And so I think that what's going to happen is we're all going to be pulling in the wisdom, and what comes of that will be our gifts, and it will look in many different ways and shapes and forms, but our senses will be heightened, our abilities will be heightened, and we won't look at them as gifts at that point. We look at them as gifts now, but I think once it happens, once it occurs, it will just be, we'll be embodying our light, and the abilities will just reveal themselves in ways that are really difficult to explain through words right now. But I mean, you could say all of the obvious ones, all the clairs and telepathy and prophetic visions and things like that. Those are just tiny examples of what's to come. I think it's 10 times grander than that, but we don't have the ability to scope exactly what that looks like, but it's not going to be exactly the same for everybody. And I think it has a lot to do with where those people or where those star seeds are from and what they're here to bring. Because I do think we're going to be more spiritually based and less technology, at least for the short term. But technology is needed, and we need engineers from other planets to come and help us rebuild. So they're coming with those sets of skills. And then, so it's not all just spiritual based. It's information and knowledge. So everybody's bringing in their knowledge, and it's about to be activated within all of us once we are in a density that we can bring in that much more light, and then the wisdom will pour through, and then we'll have the ability to see everything. So we'll have to just see what that looks like.
Now, we've been wanting to ask this question for a while, and we just haven't had a chance. And it's funny because it's about time. And I wanted you to talk, speaking a little bit to the concept of the time matrix and how time is actually shifting now.
Well, I think the time is speeding up, and I think even people who are not awake to all of this are seeing it. I mean, I think everyone is seeing it. Even people who are still buying into the narrative, they're even saying, "Wow, time is flying by." So I think that we are finally reaching a point where we are going to plateau, and time is going to merge with the density that we're coming into. And I think that has a lot to do with the other topic we're going to talk about tonight with the animals. And what people are seeing, and perhaps my perspective on how I understand what's happening, because a lot of changes are occurring, and I think that ties into what's happening right now. So the time matrix, we are going to go out of this linear time frame, because when you're not in a linear time frame, which the third density is very much time frame, it's all based on time. We are working our way out of that, which is why we're having these time warps, because we're trying to get used to no time. That's where we're moving into. So this time, the whole notion of time is shifting altogether. And I think that the speeding up of time is one indication of us preparing to come out of this linear matrix that we're in, and into embody one of just, you are living in the moment, the present moment, and we are not limited by time anymore, and we're working our way up to it.
I do believe that you can actually slow time down. I've actually done that a couple of times. There's been times when I've literally needed more time, to get somewhere, or, just for some reason I was, a bit behind time with something, and I did pick up time. It might have been 10, 15 minutes, might have even been half an hour, but it's actually happened. So you do, I guess, when you're not in that, as you said, linear time space, you can actually create time, and you get in kind of your own vibration, your own wavelength, and you create time within that. So it's true, it does happen.
Absolutely, you can. It works both ways. It really does.
Done that a few times.
I know. All right, we're gonna We're going to head into the last topic today, which is all about animals. And you wanted to talk about all of the animals that are circling out and just why this is happening.
Yeah. And this isn't something that I sought out. Of course, I'm curious. I was curious like everybody else, but it wasn't something that I was like meditating on to get the information. It literally came to me in my sessions, which is how I get most of my information anyways. And it came to me twice. So I felt like, okay, there's a reason why this information is coming to me through my sessions with children. Specifically, these were children's sessions. And I thought it was an interesting explanation that needs to be talked about because, again, this isn't the only explanation. Again, I also believe that there is a darker version of what's occurring. But the one that I'm about to tell you is the one that I resonate with because that is the resonance that I am trusting my energy to, I'm putting my energy towards. And I think it's more authentic. But what they're showing me is because we have sheep, we have cows, we have birds, we have insects, chickens. I mean, we have all sorts of animals that are in unison, walking in clockwise and counterclockwise. There is no, it's not one or the other. It's both in these circles, and it's happening all over the planet. Very recently, it started as an anomaly, but now it's getting to the point where people are seeing it for themselves, and they're filming it with their phones in their own neighborhoods. It's not just something that they're seeing on YouTube, and it's getting a lot of traction. And understandably, people are freaking out because again, in this diluted, convoluted matrix, sometimes our first instinct is to think, oh, something bad's going to happen. And I didn't really feel that way, but I didn't have that explanation of what was going on. So what they're telling me, or what was shown to me rather, in this one particular session, because this particular child is very connected to the earth, to the consciousness of earth, and inner earth. So what they're showing me is that there is a energetic shift occurring, which we've known about for a while, and it has been occurring in shifts, but it's heightened up. There's an amplification of energy, and the earth has been and is still going through a purification process, a purge. So there are likewise, there are also animals dying in the thousands, birds falling from the sky, fish in the sea by the thousands surfacing, all dead. So that is part of the recycle process. And there's a lot of negative energy that is being detoxed from the planet, and more light is coming in, and it's amplifying right now, again, because the time is not really time. The illusion of time is speeding up, but really what's happening is an amplification of energy. And so what that means is that when you have herd animals that have an oversoul, and these oversouls are connected to the consciousness of Gaia, they are intuitively connecting with each other. And when they walk in a circle like that, what they're doing is they're creating a vortex of energy. And so they are going in harmony and becoming in sync with the energy of the planet as it's shifting. And so when you have animals in a large number circling, all in unison in different pockets of the world, what they're showing me is that they are actually opening up portals of energy, and they are helping harmonize the earth all at the same time in the sequence. And inner earth, from what I've been told for years now, it's not new to me, they are eager and willing to, the beings in inner earth, whether they're the Telosians or the Agarthans or whomever, they are really willing and ready to come to the surface to guide and assist us when the timing was right and when it's safe, which we are about to approach that period of time. So some of these portals that are being activated are, one, bringing us into a higher density, but also connecting us with them, so that the pathway of energy between the inner earth, honeycomb, Agartha, Telos, etc., are now coming in harmony and in sync with the outer earth. And we're harmonizing, and vortexes of energy are opening up pathways between the two. And the Schumann resonance is shifting. And so it's a huge energy grid that's being created. And the animals know, because they connect intelligently to the collective consciousness, or the oversoul of the earth. And they are harmonizing with their own heartbeats and their own energy. And it tends to be large herds, but there are smaller groups of animals that are getting this frequency of this signal. So you might have 3 birds. I've even seen a video of some domesticated dogs by themselves circling in the yard. So on some level, all animals are getting this frequency, this signal rather, and they are innately, because they are connected to the earth, they know exactly what to do. They just start to harmonize. It's harmonizing. It's a purification process, and it's portals of energy opening and activating, not only from outer earth to inner earth, but also interstellar, and bringing in much more light. And they're holding the space. So what happens is those animals that are remaining in the circle for 10, 12 hours and more, and some are days now, they are holding the space now. They are holding the space of that energy. And I think just as oddly as it started, they will just stop. And then they'll be done. And then everybody will be like, what happened? They all stop. So I also had a session with a little girl from, a little boy from Venus who is on the planet now. And his sole purpose, his destiny, is to come to Earth and help us terraform, because there are a lot of predictions or a lot of spiritual gurus out there that have been saying for a long time that life as we know it outside of Earth will cease to exist, and we are all going to go into inner Earth and cohabitate with inner Earth, and there won't be an outer Earth anymore. I never believed that, and I still to this day don't think that's true. I think to some degree the Earth is going to shift, the geography is going to change, and things are going to look different, because again, that's part of the Earth's purification process and evolution. But I think that what they're trying to, what this child was trying to show me, is that there are aspects of the outer Earth that will need to be terraformed to some degree to withstand different frequencies and energy, because a lot's shifting. Now, I'm going to admit to you and anyone watching, I don't 100% understand what I was shown, but I know it's big. I know it's purposeful. It's not scary. It is a beautiful part of this great awakening, this shift that's occurring, that there are so many facets all happening at the same time. But when you look at it from a different perspective, down, or not really down, but you look at it from a different perspective, you see how they're all connected. So this little session with the child from Venus and this other Telosian child, and explaining 2 different things, when you put them together, that it makes perfect sense when you look at all the elements and how they fit together. So I think that the animals are activating energy grids and portals and holding the space of energy to help us connect outer and inner Earth and help this transformation. And then what occurs down the line, which this other Venus child was talking about with terraforming, will then unravel, and we'll understand it better once we get to that point. We're just not there yet.
I just had a couple of questions, Sherri. One I just didn't know the answer to is, what is an oversoul? I didn't know what that was.
Okay, so an oversoul, so if we're all fractals or we're all light, and then we can fractal ourselves out, so we can have many different life experiences in different forms at the same time. Then we have our oversoul, which is our is our entirety of our light in its purest form before it's fractaled out. Now we also have oversouls of herds. So herds of animals that are in huge numbers, like, hoofstock and, the elephants and in large herds of animals, the sheep, they have an oversoul, and it's all fractaled out into the many that are there. So it's not, whereas domesticated animals, for example, like my dog or your dog or people's pets, are one soul that come in to be with that person, that particular person that you generally know. You know the soul of that animal that's chosen to be with you. It's not in a huge soul group in a herd of animals that are all connecting to each other like a hive mind. So, those animals are connecting with each other with their oversoul, which is how they know what to do, going into circles.
How come the animals have chosen this specific time, do you think, to behave in this way? Is it because humans are ready for this?
Well, we don't know for sure. Again, I would be speculating, but I think what they're alluding to, or what is becoming apparent, is that this big shift is occurring, and we are at this crescendo where all what we've been waiting for is at its point where it's time. It's time for these big shifts to occur. Now, is it going to be a big solar flash? Is it going to be this big event? I don't know. I still don't think that it's a big solar flash. But again, my opinion, and those that are saying it, that there is one, I'm not saying they're wrong. So I just don't know. But what I'm saying is that we're working our way up to something. But I believe that it's a good something. It's not these towers that are emitting a frequency that is mummifying them and causing them to go and to act a certain way nefariously to showcase what is about to happen or could potentially happen to the masses next that had this. That's the other narrative that's being played out or being talked about. I could see how that is circulating, but I don't resonate with that one. I think that that is possible 100% based on the negative narrative and agenda. And we've seen it through specific movies that have been brought to my attention. I can't remember what they're called because I wouldn't have watched those movies, but I don't think that's actually what's occurring. I think it's something grander, and it's about timing. It's divine timing.
And I think we'll just mention, Sherri, that I know that on our channel and definitely on your channel, we don't tend to go too political with what we talk about, and we really do not touch on politics, if at all, or a lot of the more, I guess, negative narratives that are going on out there. We may touch on certain things, but we don't tend to focus on that. And that's not to say we're not aware of what's going on. We're definitely aware of what's going on out there, and I know there's a lot of uprising right now going on within different countries. A lot of people are standing up and they're protesting against their governments, and there's stuff going on down here in Australia and there's Brazil. It's all over the place. And we're most definitely, I just wanted the audience to be aware of this, that we're most definitely aware of what's going on. We choose not to talk into those kinds of aspects because we're not political experts by any means. Not that we need to be, but what we want to focus on, because obviously government structures, this all needs to be rebuilt, needs to be broken down and completely and utterly rebuilt from scratch, as does many parts of society, so many structures of society. So that includes the financial, it includes the medical, and of course it includes education. And that's where we come in. That's something that we are, collectively, the three of us, we're very passionate about, as other people that work with us, our mentors, and of course the students as well that come along. It's very, very important to us to do what we do and what we know about and what we're passionate about. And that's why we are focusing, and we're so like keen on developing this as quickly as possible. And that's why we do reach out for donations, so that we can get this off the ground, because it's so important to do this, especially in the physical sense as well. Sherri, I'm sure you'll agree. It's one thing for us to be doing all of this online, and we offer some absolutely amazing classes, which we'll just touch on in a moment, which cover so many different topics. But it's the in-person, that's that physical thing, getting it off the ground. That's just, it's that example, that we need to show the world that this creation is happening. We have to do it now. We can't keep waiting. You can grizzle about the government and then go on and on. You can do all of that, and that's necessary to do. We need to fight against that, but we also need to create. It's really about creation right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't have to be a grand creation. I think even the most, simple idea that people have, making a difference in their local community, or even just in one person's life that they know, it's about positive creation right now, and in the collective, not fantasizing, but believing that we deserve more, and putting yourself in a place of power and saying, I believe that we deserve this, and it's time, and you focus your energy on what it is that you desire, and you visualize it, you say it out loud, you write it down, you talk about it, you spread the word. That's why we do these videos, and we started the Aramis Learning Center, because my intention is to provide an opportunity for children that where they can thrive, and they're not manipulated, and they are honored, and they come first. And we were able to do a lot through virtual classes, and we still are, but it's time that we get the physical centers up and running, because once we get the first going, then I believe the momentum will be much faster. But we have to make the first step towards that. And now I feel like now is the time. 2023 is that magical number that I've been seeing for over a decade, that I didn't understand what it meant. And I've asked my guides millions of times, please tell me what the significance of 23 is. And I didn't figure it out until this year. And now I know. Now I know.
There was a connection with 23 and your husband?
Well, it was his number. It was the number that he always followed him. My number is actually 8. And it's the infinity. I use, if you guys see in most of the logos I've ever made, or I always subtly try to include the infinity symbol. That's always been my symbol. And the number 8. And then when we met, it was 23. Everything was 23. And I was like, meh, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I would say about 12 years ago, I started seeing 23 immediately, like 20 times a day. And it went to the trajectory of humanity and is the true birthing of Aramis Creative Learning Center in the physical that will set the trajectory for the many more to come. And it's 2023, and that's the year that we're coming together to build this. And so I think that now I get it. I said that's why it's significant to me, not necessarily to everybody. And the beautiful thing about it is I believe that my husband and I are meant to do this together, and that's why he brought the number to me. I guess there's a significance to that as well, I'm sure.
I just want to apologize to the audience if there is any interference. I mean, obviously we'll edit bits out, but we had some interference going on, and I hope you can hear, because I can hear power tools outside. It's very hard to concentrate and hear Sherri at times, but it's been a really good conversation today, and we've kind of covered a lot of different topics. And I just also, Sherri, want to just touch back onto the online classes that we do offer. You were talking in a recent interview, a broadcast, and it was with your friend Tyler, Journey to the Truth. I think it was that one. And you were talking a lot about the negative vortexes that actually surround schools, and those properties, not just schools, obviously, most likely hospitals and all of the different institutional places in society that have been built. There's this negative vortex that surrounds it, and some children are far more susceptible to it than others. And you were saying how, when they cross into this vortex, they actually get hit with this really, really negative energy. And it's all about the programming and controlling the children. And, obviously with the online classes, we're not necessarily saying to parents out there that may be watching this or know people with children, we're not saying it's to replace your full curriculum right now. That's obviously where we're headed. You can do it if you would like to do that. But we're saying use these classes even as an offset to that negative energy that that your child is most likely being susceptible, as being what's the word? I can't think of the word. Being exposed to. Thank you. Most likely being exposed to, when they go to school. I know there's a lot of homeschoolers out there as well, but these classes are a really good offset for that negative energy that kids might experience, even with other issues. Like, let's face it, school, it's about, there's bullies, there's all of the mind control. It's the hours that the children are expected to be there and numbed out for 6-7 hours a day. It's all of those things that these classes are a great offset to that, and such a safe, positive environment. Mentors are amazing.
And that's why Sherri created this online schooling, because what we put into this, the energy that we put into this is coming from a pure intention. And that's what we really want to get across today is don't forget about, like, audience watching, that everything that goes into this is of the most pure intention for the children and the adults that do the classes as well. And that's what it's based in, that's what it's based on, and that's what we're trying to create for the future. So it's a very different model to what's out there, and that's why we are trying so hard to make this a reality for everyone across the world. And that's why Sherri started these online classes, was to reach as many people as we possibly could in the format that we currently have.
Yeah, I mean, everything you guys are saying is right on. I mean, right, currently, and as it stands, this is, extracurricular. It's an alternative opportunity for children to learn something that they want to learn. Nobody is forcing children right now to take these classes, but they're subjects that they're really interested in, and it's fun. They come and they get to learn about things that I think that they should be learning in their everyday schooling, and they're not. But that's going to change. So up until this point, it's for homeschoolers the parents are looking for a little bit of help on what do I teach my child? What can I do with them during the day? and also children who are in regular schools that are interested in learning these types of things that aren't being offered in their current school. And this is fun. It's not a chore for them. It's not like, oh man, I got to take this class. It's something that they're interested in. And when you're interested in something, and adults are this way, you'll do it. It doesn't matter if you're tired or what's going on. If you're really interested and you're passionate about something, you want to do it. But when you're forced to do something and you don't understand why you're learning it, and you're not interested in it, it can be the biggest chore. And so this is the foundation of what you too, because you guys are very integral part of Aramis, is we're trying to create an alternative platform for children in the physical sense, where children can come to school. We don't use the word school, to come to the centers to learn in an environment where it's fun for them and inspiring, and they enjoy it and they want to come and they thrive because they are learning about things that are interesting and in a way that is not taxing. They're outside, they're with animals, they're learning about things that they can relate to real life. Because a lot of children ask all throughout schooling, no matter how old they are, I get the question all the time, why do we need to know this? And in reality, they really don't need to know it. It's just we need to, the dark system needs to keep these children occupied for 6 hours to 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, so that we could keep the parents, locked away in their job, so that we separate them. And there's so many, nefarious reasons for it. But in the reality that we are looking to create, they have the ability to make their own schedule, learn what they want to learn, and in a safe environment that is uplifting, where we truly honor the child. And mentors are there not to teach, but to mentor. We have ambassadors, which is part of our special announcement tonight. And our special guest is our first next step in this process of creating an environment for children that they are going to absolutely love. And I guarantee you the parents are going to want to be there too. And we are going to welcome the parents as well, because we're trying to create a community. We're not trying to separate and divide. We're trying to create a community and where everyone is welcome, that resonates with this vision.
Now, if you want to book classes, please go to aramiscreativelearning.com and you'll find all of the current classes there. We've got some amazing December classes on offer, so please go there and take a look.
Good for the Christmas period as well. If children, I know children down here will be on holidays, so yeah, good to do something extracurricular. Mm-hmm. And there's a couple of also some creative classes in there as well for Christmas. So creating things that you can give as gifts for Christmas too. So check out the website and you can see all what's on there.
And I also wanted to just mention quickly, Sherri, a lot of our movement classes, we really want children to think a little bit more about that and participate in that, because sometimes we get less bookings in those classes, and movement is such a great way to move energy around the body and release trapped energy. They're integrated with so many amazing elements, spiritual elements as well. And also we've got a breath work class again, which is really amazing to move energy around the body. So I just wanted to make people aware of those classes as well, that will be different to what your maybe current sports or movement you do outside of this.
Jump on the website and have a look. You'll see all the classes there for December. And Sherri, I know you've just you've just designed a new collection of merchandise as well. Did you want to talk about that quickly?
Yeah, I'm really excited to announce our merchandise Aramis line of t-shirts for adults, mostly for children, but there's some adult size shirts in there as well. And what the purpose of it is to spread the word about Aramis, but also have some beautiful affirmations on shirts that children can wear and feel good and empowered while wearing them, and the parents can as well. So I encourage all of you to check that out. It's not on the website, the Aramis website, just yet, but it is available on my YouTube channel in the store. So that's under my name at Sherri Divband. And we're adding to them. The collection every day is growing, and we're going to add, we'll start adding more every week. We're going to add more designs and different types of merchandise, bags and notebooks and all sorts of things for the children to make this fun for them. So I'm really excited about what we've created so far. So I encourage everyone to check out what we've made. There's some beautiful designs, and I think they're just uplifting. They have powerful messages, and they're colorful and they're fun. And I think that it's fun for the whole family. And so that could be a great holiday gifts for anyone thinking about, you know, what to get for their grandchildren or their own children.
So yes, definitely check out Sherri's YouTube channel for the store. You can browse on there, and obviously we'll have everything linked below this video, all of our channels, our channel as well, Colleen Julie's Soul Twins, and also the donation link. If you can continue and helping us grow Aramis, it's very much appreciated, and ongoing donations help us just to keep going and continuing. So that's thearamiscollective.com/donations. So that will be below this video as well. So please donate if you are able to, or send the link on to someone that you feel may be interested in being a part of this. Yeah.
All right. Should we bring in our special guest now, Sherri? I think it's time.
I think it's time. I'm really excited. I'm gonna grab the special guest. So everybody, give me a minute, and I'll be right back. Okay.
And here we are. Here's our special guest for today of the animal variety. Who's this, Sherri?
Our special guest, her name is Luna. Luna is a 10-week-old golden retriever that we have added to our Aramis family, and she's going to be our very first Aramis ambassador for children. So she'll be a therapy dog for the children at the first Aramis location, and she's so sweet. She's very sweet. I think she was sleeping.
Yeah, she was just.
So they woke her up.
Sorry, Luna.
Oh, Luna.
Hi.
She's so sweet.
This is the first time we've met her as well.
She's gonna be a great. Oh, she's sleepy, girl.
Thank you, Luna, for getting up for us and meeting the audience.
She's a good girl.
Oh, isn't she sweet? She's
so she's going to be trained to be a therapy dog and an emotional support dog for the children at the center, and she's going to work with all the children. She's going to be at the school every day, and she'll be our Aramis representative.
Was he coming?
Yeah, she's going to be in the classrooms. She'll be out in the field with the horses. She's going to be everywhere, Luna. She's a good girl. She has normally
Sorry,
huh?
I was going to say, along with a lot of other animals that will be at the center, she'll be a big feature.
Okay, say bye.
Oh.
Bye, Luna. Thanks, Aramis.
Thanks, Aramis. Thanks, Skylar.
Thanks, Skylar.
Good to see you.
Bye.
So we are going to create an Instagram page for her as well. So we'll stay tuned for that, and we'll continue to give everyone progress in her growth, in her training. As she works with children, she'll have her own Instagram page, so anyone watching can follow her. And she's a lot of fun. She's super sweet, and I can't wait for her to help as many children as possible, just to uplift them, to make them feel safe, and to help them go through any, emotional PTSD that this world has created for them, and help them navigate their way through that. And so she's really special. She's really special.
And just to reiterate, animal therapy is a big part of the Aramis Creative Learning Center. So as you said, she's our first really Aramis ambassador. So that's beautiful. And I hope the audience enjoyed meeting Luna.
Yeah, we certainly did. All right. Well, thank you very much, as always, Sherri, for joining us. I know we had a little bit of interference today with the sound and the internet, so hopefully we'll get through it, and Julie can sort that out. All right, thanks so much, Sherri, and we look forward to the next chat. Again, all of the links will be below. If you haven't already subscribed to either of our channels, all of those links below, plus our Instagrams and other social media channels as well. Thank you very much for watching us. We look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Bye for now.
Sherri.
Thanks everybody.
Bye.